Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for another ATS News live stream. We are going to discuss the Madeline Soto case, specifically her mother, and then we will get into one of Madeline's friends' interviews. So that's what we got going on. Let me know, chat, if you can hear me clearly before I start sharing my screen and all that. So we broke down her interview ourselves, and it was 2 parts. I know that a lot of other channels have played her interview as well. Thank you very much, Johnny. And it's good to see Dustin and Pointer Lovers, Zoe, Adrian, Ashley, Debbie Fox. Tony's here, Jen's here, Shay. Everyone who's here, thank you so much. Hit that like button if you guys haven't done so. A lot of channels, including Retired Law Enforcement, have broken down her video. I feel like we're all kind of on the same page. It seems like, and you guys let me know, put a 1 in chat if you think Jenn Soto was lying or knew more in her interview than she was kind of leading on. I personally think so. I know that there seems to be a lot of others' opinions, including the expert opinions, that feel like something's just off with her story. There's some red flags, not only her telling Stephen Stern's father to get Stephen a lawyer, but she let Stephen use her cell phone when he was, all anxious and antsy about getting into his Google account and he didn't have his phone. She told him, if you ask for your phone right now, you're going to look really suspicious. So she lets him use her phone, and apparently he tried to access his email through her phone. There's that phone call, there's that conversation that Stephen and Jenn had in a vehicle. The officer during her interview asked what they discussed during that time in the vehicle. She said that she was all doped up from medication and doesn't remember the conversation really, and that she was zoning out most of the time. Other red flags are obviously all over that interview for me. There's just something not sitting right with it. So we're just going to listen to this podcast that has some opinions on it as well. And it also plays clips from the interview as well. And like I said, we have a 38-ish minute interview with Madeline Soto's friend. So one of her girlfriends gets interviewed. So we'll listen to that one. So let's just get into it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I see a lot of 1s in chat. Even Tony saying 1s times a million. Not only the Woody Allen comment that she made and that being her biggest fear, it's just other things just don't seem to be really adding up as, her being an innocent mother who had no idea of anything. Hi, good to see you. Okay, and hello, Teacup, BGOG, Kitty Q, alrighty. So this, I'm not going to play the whole thing. We're just going to start when her interview kind of starts during the breakdown. And yeah, let's listen to this.
Until that point, when you were shown that she was deceased, your continued first reaction is to protect this guy.
I
You just said, I only saw a picture of him, whatever your verbiage was. I say of his penis in her mouth, and your first reaction was, oh my, victimized? No. She's being abused? No. It's Stefan needs a lawyer.
Wow. At the moment she is being shown the evidence that her daughter's being abused by Stearns, her reaction is, Stearns needs a lawyer? Stearns needs a lawyer. A lot of, in this interview, it's all about how she's reacting to learning all this stuff and what she's saying. I want you to watch more of this because we were wondering what were the police interviews really like? Well, the police are not taking it easy on Jenn Soto at all. Let's watch.
Have you talked to Chris about Stefan needing a lawyer?
Yeah.
When?
I think when you guys showed me the photos.
So we showed you photos of Stefan raping.
No.
First thought you had was to ask his father if he should get a lawyer?
No. I saw a picture. I didn't see the rape. I didn't know she was getting raped until yesterday.
And here you can, if you guys remember this during real time, I mean, the officer is just kind of like confused. He says, she was performing fellatio on him and you don't consider that rape? Like that's still RAPE.
I saw the picture of the oral sex happening. And I knew that was true, right? That's evidence. That's for real. That's happening. But I kept thinking, they're going... I don't know why I can't tell you why my brain kept thinking, no, he didn't kill her. Not that he didn't kill her, but she's still missing. She's still out there. She was taken. Yes, he's done this to her, and that's not okay. But I swore she was still, I felt in my body she was still alive. She was still out there. I told Chris to get him a lawyer because I felt like you guys were chasing the wrong person. But you weren't. You're not.
We showed you a picture. The picture you saw, she was giving a blowjob to a grown man. And you told his dad to get him a lawyer. Missing, right? Now you... But then you just thought she was missing. And we were showing you our investigative lead being raped. A blowjob is rape. Not consensual. Whether she wants to do it or not, that is not consensual.
The fact that she needs the officer to explain to her that the oral is still considered SA, it's unbelievable. It totally disconnected, like you guys are saying in chat. I watched this on Melly's channel. Hey, Melly. And, like I said, I've seen multiple channels break this down. Professionals, retired law enforcement, just web sleuths. And like I said in Melly's chat when she broke it down the other night, and guys, subscribe to Melly too if you haven't. Jenn Soto, it gets worse and worse every single time we listen to her, which is why I titled the live stream that. I really just, it's beyond sickening. Hi, Beach Bum. It's just, I don't understand it. It's hard to grasp my mind around it. I find the similarities between this and Gannon disturbing. Both had step parents that stole their ADHD meds. Both had to take Miralax, and both were, that's very interesting comparison. Terrible. Yes, she must be completely mesmerized by Stefan and can't see the forest for the trees. Unbelievable. I feel like they're in together on this, whatever had to do with that tripod in room 4. And then that's why she's going down, defending him so badly, because he has the secret that they both carry. We will never be able to understand why she doesn't get it. It has to be fake. No one could be that clueless. Yeah, a mother and a daughter, unbelievable. I'm so sorry, but Stefan would not be alive right now. I would probably be in prison. And yet she's, telling him not to look suspicious. Hi, Paul. Hi, Jody. How not to look suspicious and that he needs a lawyer. And, you guys got the wrong guy. I really thought until that moment that you guys had the wrong guy. I think that's a high possibility, Debbie. Now, can they prove it? That's the question.
And you prioritized him again. You prioritized him by offering him or telling his dad to get him a lawyer. Not what did he do? Hey, we need to figure out what happened. No, let's protect Stefan.
I was in shock.
You didn't care. You didn't care then. Oh, whether sex isn't important to you, that wasn't anything close.
I knew what I saw was
He was
terrible.
a predator right then and there. That's the day you found out he was a predator.
Yeah.
Yes. And after you found out he was a predator, did you not say he needed a lawyer?
I did.
Let's get to the next question. This is maddening. This is absolutely maddening. Did Jenn Soto care more about Stefan Stearns than Madeline? More than her own daughter? What's going on? What's wrong here?
Now chime in, chat, and replay viewers, answer Vinny's question there. Did Jenn Soto seem to care more about Stefan and protect Stefan more than she did her own daughter? I think yes. I think even when she's in this interview and she talks about how, we were doing that news interview and he was ugly crying. And I said the same thing that I said in Melly's chat. Oh, so if he's ugly crying, then that means he must be innocent.
Still with me. The host of Grizzly True Crime YouTube channel, Gisela K. And joining me now, forensic neuropsychologist and associate professor at Pepperdine University, Dr. Judy Ho. Dr. Judy Ho, what is going on here? How is that the reaction? What does it mean? Does she care more about the predator than the victim, who's her own daughter?
It's a very good question, Vinny. And the police detective got it right when he asked her, that's your first reaction? Your first reaction is to make sure that your predator boyfriend has an attorney? That's your first visceral gut reaction as a mom when you see that your daughter is being sexually assaulted and abused by your so-called love? That was her first reaction. I saw that she tried to backtrack that and say, well, I just was in shock. But I have a hard time thinking that a mother who is in shock, that their first thought would be, let's make sure the predator has legal representation. I would imagine expletives, cursing, real shock where you literally have no words maybe. This is not something that I would expect. And Vinny, we've talked about the range of emotions that somebody can have when they're in the middle of a trauma, but this one feels far-fetched and like it doesn't make sense.
I know, Debbie, I totally agree. Letitia says she has not shed one tear of grief for her daughter. She weeps for getting caught and her permanent loss of Stefan Stearns. I agree. And even when she's talking about the media interview that Stefan did, she's like, he was ugly crying. We broke down that interview. We watched it. He's wiping a dry face with a crumpled up tissue. There's no wet tears. She just always will back him up.
It's maddening. Gisela, people's heads are exploding right now at home watching this. I want to, when you go online with this and you're talking about this for hours and people are seeing this, I mean, everyone is got to just be up in arms and almost in disbelief that a mother could react this way to photographic digital evidence of her daughter being sexually abused by her boyfriend?
Absolutely. My whole community, as we go through this, is absolutely enraged, because if you even listen carefully how Jenn Soto speaks about her daughter, it's never in good light. There was one time, and I only know of the one because she says so many other bad things, that she said something nice, like, okay, she's got a beautiful voice. The rest is all, she's abnormal and, she's problematic and she's always late and forgets her phone and all the things she says. But she speaks so well of Stefan Stearns.
She said things like she's very forgetful, her ADHD, this and that. And then she'll be like, I needed a good night's sleep that night because when she sleeps in the bed, she kicks, she punches, she's all over the place. The list goes on with all the negative things that she would keep saying about her. And I agree with the comment about if Jenn's given a plea deal. I won't say I'm never watching true crime again, but definitely would upset me. The hardest she cried is when she realized the next day was her birthday. Yeah, all about her. It's like she was justifying Stefan's vile behavior by saying, well, I have no sex drive. Yes. The medications that I'm on, I had no sex drive. It's almost like she's like, I don't really blame him.
And think about this, to the point where she refers to her daughter's body being stashed and dumped and all the words we would never say about victims. And then says, maybe he went back to check if he did a good job. That to me was like, my goodness, she prioritizes Stefan Stearns. No wonder she said, oh, he probably needs a lawyer. How much jail time will he do? I mean, he's definitely the priority above her own daughter.
How does that happen, Dr. Judy Ho? How on earth could that happen?
Exactly, Mayla's mom. And that's just another example of things that she'll say that contradict her own statement that she said previously. Like she had said something like, I really thought you guys had the wrong guy. He never gave me anything for me to think that he would do anything like this. And then in the same breath, she'll be like, he steals from his parents. He stole a Rolex. They thought that he had stolen Madeline's Christmas money. She calls him very manipulative. And when Stefan wants something, he gets something, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, so then why did you trust him so much? And to say, I said to him, my biggest fear was that this would turn into a Woody Allen situation. And you can't do that to me.
Well, there's different reasons for why somebody could become so dependent on their partner that they seemingly blinded to everything else, including the maternal love that biologically most people feel. I say most because I know you've covered other cases where that might not be the situation. But in general, that biological maternal love, that's unbreakable for most people. And sometimes, though, the individual, because they've had a troubled past, perhaps they've had other abusive relationships, abuse and trauma in their childhood, that they end up being so bonded to whoever is their partner. It's like that is their entire life. And that's all.
Now, she has described she was raised to never trust a man. She talked about an essay incident that took place before she met Stefan, where she was essayed on a date, and that Stefan is her best friend, and that's why she keeps him around, even though they had broken up. And hello, Roxanne and Keenly. Good to see you guys. So glad that you guys are here. Baby son forever. Oh, thank you so much. I love you too. All your comments. Don't worry. Like, every time I see your name in my comment section, I hone in on what you got to say because I just love the way that your mind thinks. Like many of my subs, for real though. Love you, Amber, Jennifer, Soto. New photos all over the house for 5 years. And she was home all the time due to being on a disability she knew. I could totally see that. The poor roommate demanded her leave and never come back. And just think about the roommate who ends up finding out in their police interview that they were a victim of Stefan Stearns. He's taking pictures of them, in the bathroom, etc., in their bedroom. It's unbelievable.
All that they can think about. And if that's the case here, then it would make sense why she's saying, well, let's get you an attorney so we can reduce your sentence and we can still have our happily ever after. I know it's twisted and sick, but some people do become so singularly focused on their partners that they might do something like this.
And you know what was also interesting too to hear during Jenn Soto's interview is that like they asked her, how did you two come about or whatever? And she said, we worked together, something about knowing him first. And they were like platonic friends or something. And then she said, and I just asked him one day, you want to hook up? And he was like, sure. Like, it's just like, that's Jenn Soto, that girl. Do you want to hook up? He wasn't even interested in her. Like I don't know if she'll ever understand that. Like he was with you to get to your daughter. I think she does understand that on some level because I think that this jealousy is definitely there between her and Madeline. I mean, Madeline talked to her counselor and friends about how her and her mother never got along and that her mother would tell her when she turns 18, she's getting kicked out of the house. Why was she going to kick her out of the house at 18? Because she's legally able to marry and she wants her away from Stefan?
Gisela, we have about 15 seconds here or so. It seems at times she's almost detached from the reality of what this is all about.
It does seem so at times, but then she's got that script well prepared and she contradicts herself all the time. So sometimes thinking of her working as a concierge, front desk, I think she kind of plays that role a little bit of just being bewildered and detached. But I think she knows exactly what's going on, in my opinion.
Gisela Kay, Dr. Judy Ho, thank you. I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues. Abuser also Madeline Soto, who was put alone in a room with an alleged child molester by her own mother. Prosecutors say that abuser also murdered Madeline. Now the question is, what did her mother know? Here's the story.
February 25th was Madeline Soto's 13th birthday party, celebrating a new phase in her life, becoming a teenager. There was a party. Her mom, Jenn Soto, couldn't make it, and after the party, her aunt dropped her at home where her mother's live-in, on-again, off-again boyfriend, Stefan Stearns, was supposed to take care of her. The next day, Jenn and Stefan say Stefan gave Madeline a ride to school, but she never showed up. She was found 4 days later in some brush on the side of the road in St. Cloud, about 20 miles from their home in Kissimmee, Florida. Stearns was arrested after images of Madeline.
Yes, that was also an interesting aspect too, Teacup. She told Madeline's bio dad that Stefan was a biomechanic or bioengineer, something like that, some sort of engineer, that he definitely wasn't. And her bio dad says, I never understood that because what would a bioengineer be doing with Jenn? So it was kind of like funny to hear that. But at the same time, Jenn knew that he was a bum and a loser. And she was hiding the way that maybe he made money. So she came up with that excuse or that story. Like she's just a liar. And no, Jackie, I have not heard from Being Bio Girl. I have reached out to her again on social media and all that. Still no word from her. It's been a few weeks now, probably close to a month almost. And hello, Marshall Dove. So again, we are on the lookout for our moderator, Being Bio Girl.
Being sexually assaulted were allegedly found on his phone. And since then, he's been charged with her murder. Jenn Soto has not been charged or named as a suspect for anything, but Jenn did face intense questioning by investigators who were trying to understand what Jenn knew and what she didn't know about what was happening to her daughter, Madeline.
I agree. I agreed. If Jenn Soto is that incompetent, she had no business with custody. And if she is that incompetent and she's also used these drugs and medications that she's on as an excuse so many times already, you know, maybe you should have given custody over to her father or to her grandmother.
Such an important part of what happened to this 13-year-old girl is about what happened to her since she was 8 years old. Like this history of documented, according to prosecutors, abuse. So when detectives find all this out, they bring in Jenn Soto, and it's time to question her. And again, they're going after her. They're trying to get to the truth. Let's watch.
You guys interviewed me, and when you guys showed me the picture of her, I believed the sexual stuff, but I didn't want to believe that he had done anything evil to her. I'm like, no, what if he did this stuff fine, but what if she's still missing out there? What if
he did this stuff fine? So the essay is fine with her. The essay, like she said, you know, I didn't think he did anything evil. What? And I believe that at that point, we kind of listened to it. And thank you, Shay. We noticed it when we broke down the video on camera. That at that point is when the detective like tilts his head and like cracks his neck. Like he can't even believe what he's saying, what she's saying. It's fine, right? It's totally fine.
somebody took her, I still wanted to believe in his. I believed him. I believed his whole story. So I was just like, I kept repeating that part. I'm just like, what if she did get dropped off? What if she got abducted? What if she's missing? But that was me assuming that you guys had the wrong guy. I wanted to think he was a good guy still, but clearly he's not.
If I
knew anything, I promise you, I would tell you. Like, I am willing to take a lie detector test, whatever the you want, but I don't know anything. He's never mentioned anything. I've never seen any signs. I tried watching her like a hawk. I thought I was doing a good job, but I wasn't. I was oblivious to everything. 4 years.
Minimum. Ask yourself that far back the cloud goes.
And I just don't buy this whole, I was oblivious to all 4 years. And her like saying, like, I watched her like a hawk. No, you didn't. Because even her bio dad, if you guys remember his interview, I listened to it on Alex Erickson's channel. And I've got it in my files. We just haven't gotten to it. He says like that she would be almost like comatose and like out of it because of her depression, anxiety, and medications. Not those exact quotes, but phrases along the lines of that. And the other thing that I just doesn't sit well with me is Jenn was encouraging and in on this whole, like, yeah, they were going to wake up and go to McDonald's. Of all days, Jenn has a doctor's appointment that morning. Of all days, Jenn has to work on the her birthday party. Of all days, Jenn knew about this McDonald's trip in the morning. It's just too many things that were kind of out of the norm that Jenn was just like in on, knowing about and encouraging and just able to, you know, be absent from with good excuses. It's just not sitting well with me.
I find it hard to believe for me that you were so worried about how many pills she took at night, but not where she slept or what relationship she was. His interest in her.
I thought we were all safe. I thought because that he hadn't shown me anything so far, like everything seems fine. Like he seems like
that was the script that Stefan fed to Jenn, but I'm not so sure about that because she even says like, yeah, you know, like we had said, it's the day after your birthday, which it wasn't. It was just the day after her party. You should go get McDonald's in the morning. So it wasn't so much of a script of the McDonald's that Stefan fed her. Like she admits in her interview that like she was in on that conversation. It's just, it's too out there. It's too much involvement of things that were just like out of the normal routine. Neighbors say that Jenn Soto was the only one that ever walked the dog. Stefan goes in her room that morning to get the leash to walk the dog. Her friends say that Stefan never dropped her off from school. Jenn always did. Jenn has a doctor's appointment, etc. It's just, it's too much of things that just were out of the norm that day that Jenn's just kind of in on.
Like he treats you? In his mind? So now he's in jail because of what we found on his phone, not because somebody came forward and reported that he was abused.
No, I know.
She's not old enough to consent. She's not old enough to have a thought process to even want anything that was happening to her. It's abuse.
Where did you take her?
I'm going blank. I have no idea.
I feel like you're becoming emotional right now. I feel like you want to tell us.
No, if I knew what to tell you, I would tell you. If I had the truth, I would tell you. I don't know anything.
This is part of our problem. You did so many things and you never questioned it.
I didn't suspect him.
How can we believe some of the stuff that you're telling us, or believe that you don't know?
I don't know how to say. I mean, I guess I'm just stupid and gullible and very trustworthy, but I didn't think he'd be the type to do anything like this. I didn't doubt.
She's denying knowing anything about what's going on here. And law enforcement is very concerned about this because is she a willing participant? Is she allowing this to happen? Does she have knowledge of it? Brings me to my next question. She's denying it. So the question is, how does law enforcement determine if Jenn Soto is telling the truth? How did they figure out in their minds whether or not Jenn Soto is telling the truth? Because if she is telling the truth, in our system, she's a victim because her daughter is the victim. But if she's not telling the truth, she should be sitting next to Stephen Stearns. Joining me tonight, help work through all this, host of the Grizzly True Crime YouTube channel, which is providing all this video for you tonight, folks. Gisela K is with us. Also joining us, former homicide detective Chris McDonough, also host of the Interview Room with Chris McDonough. All right, Chris, let me just start with you from the law enforcement perspective here. You've got the mother. You're questioning her. She hasn't asked for a lawyer. She's continues to answer questions. She's denying here. How do you figure out whether she's telling the truth? What are the tactics that you're going to use in that interview room?
Well, a lot to unpack, Vinny, but right from the get-go, you're going to pick the type of room that will bring out the best responses. And in this particular case, they picked a soft interview room. You'll notice it's got the couch, the table, the two chairs for the detectives. And then the second thing you're going to pick up right away is once she comes into that room, where does she go? You'll notice she sits in between the couch. So that tells me there's a 50-50 chance here that she's going to be half and half almost through the entire interview. And then the next thing that you're going to pick up on is her, her obvious body positioning. Is she going to try to, tell you the story? And the investigators did a great job here of pushing her in the very beginning, for the body. And then, of course, it turned into this other conversation about the victimology in relationship to how much this child may have been suffering and if she had knowledge to it.
Gisela, as you watched all of this and really broke the story on all of this, how would you describe the way detectives were in that interview room?
I think they did a good job.
I would describe it as soothing to watch because they actually asked all the questions along. We've all been raging and questioning and wondering. The only thing that I would still ask if I had the chance to ask Jenn Soto is, tell us exactly why Stephen Stearns was there on Sunday night, because I don't believe her story for 1 second. So if you can uncover that truth, hopefully then it starts the rest, because she had 2 days off after that. She didn't go to the birthday party. She didn't do much for Madeline's birthday, but here is Stephen Stearns driving 2.5 hours to what? To help a 13-year-old get ready for bed? She doesn't need help getting ready for bed. She doesn't need help going to school because Jenn Soto had to get up at 9-ish anyway to go to a blood appointment. School starts at 9:28. So why was he there? that to me uncovers a lot, because I think it's like, well, he wanted to be there. It was Maddie's birthday and he wanted to spend time with her, to snuggle and cuddle. And there, I would have grilled her on that. But the rest was so excellent. It was so nice to watch and see how they actually question her.
Chris, I want to show you another part of the interview here. Investigators with a very interesting question.
I think she was killed Sunday night into Monday morning. I'm thinking he carried her out of the house. I don't know how he didn't get caught by any of my roommates or no one heard.
That's another thing that she kind of keeps saying over and over. And she says, I don't know how he didn't get caught by one of my other roommates and how no one heard. And then later in the conversation with this detective, she's like, but, I just don't understand. How did he get her body out of the house without anyone seeing? I almost feel like she was helping him. Maybe she was a lookout. She's just way too curious and too in on the whole, like, nobody saw conversation, if you guys know what I'm saying.
You're saying he drove all around town. I'm not sure where he could have gone. So him leaving early in the morning and driving around aimlessly somewhere. I feel like he stashed the body at that time.
Yeah, and you just reminded me of another thing she said, Courtney. She says at one point, something, and if this all happened, or she says this all happened upstairs then. So she places everything as upstairs in her story. So because she's a liar and because I just don't trust her, I'm thinking anything that she kind of is trying to push as a narrative could be wrong. And she might have knowledge that it actually did happen downstairs in her room. And, her white crock being found in her room is also a very interesting element.
When he came back and then left again, but it's daytime. Like, how could you move a body or move something in daytime and not be seen? But like, I feel like he went back to check to make sure he did a good job or to move the body again. I don't know. But him leaving the house multiple times without his cell phone is sketchy as so suspicious.
First of all, the thing that bothers me here is you're referring to your daughter as the body. The body? No, it's Madeline. Chris, the question that was asked preceding the answer that we heard there was, if you had to guess what happened, what would you say? Why do investigators ask that type of question, and what are you looking for in the answer?
Benny, the reason that question is asked is exactly for the answers that they got from her. The depersonalization in relationship to the victim. The idea of, you'll notice when she's first sitting there, it's almost mechanical in relationship to how she's responding. And in this particular view here, you'll see the investigators leaning into her, that he's waiting for her to respond in relationship to that body position. And she's just sitting there going, okay, may, blah, blah, and it's almost mechanical. So as an investigator, you got to sit back and you say to yourself, okay, how much of this could be rehearsed? And again, I go back to where she's still seated in this couch, because most of the time when somebody's telling the truth, they'll get so comfortable that they'll start to move towards a particular side of a large couch like this. And I haven't seen that yet from her. So I'm still 50-50 on this.
All right, Chris McDonough, the interview room. Thanks so much, Chris. Appreciate it. Still to come, why hasn't Jenn Soto been charged?
Does your role in her life lead this to happen? I'll be honest. Yes. Since she was a child, since her victimization started, it occurred under your roof and you acted like it didn't exist.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
What's her name?
Madeline. Madeline.
M-A-D.
Don't you just hear almost like detest in her phrase right there when she says her name? Madeline. Hold on. That's probably the only time we actually hear her say her name.
Roof and you acted like it didn't exist.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
What's her name?
Madeline. Madeline.
M-A-D-E-L-I-N-E. Last name?
Soto. S-O-T-O.
S-O-T-O?
Yeah.
Date of birth?
February 22nd, 2011.
How tall is she?
5'1".
Weight?
110 pounds.
110, 112.
Hair color?
Blonde.
Blonde, like that. Dirty blonde.
Like a dirty blonde?
Yeah.
Okay, eye color?
Blue.
Any other scars or anything like that? Which know?
Scars?
No.
Tattoo.
No.
You'd be surprised.
That was the first thing that got a lot of people upset. This is the night that Madeline Soto is missing, and they're responding, getting a description, and they're laughing and joking about the tattoo. How could you laugh or joke in that moment? It was very bizarre. And now we know where we are in all of this. Stephen Stearns under arrest, charged with the murder and the sexual abuse of Madeline. In the meantime, there's still a lot of focus on Jenn Soto, the mother. And there was focus in the interview room when they're talking to her, and at one point getting angry in the interview, trying to get to the truth. Let's watch.
I don't believe a lot of the things you're saying, and I don't believe a lot of the things you say you weren't aware of. And that is because you've now shown me twice that your first reaction, no matter what you were told or shown, missing and we're seizing a cell phone, or we're showing you pictures of her giving him a your first reaction is to protect Stefan. So now, murdered by Stefan, you're aware of this. You were shown pictures of this. You were shown pictures of her body in his car with a seatbelt on, right? We have played it out for you. Now you're in a stage where he's in jail. You know she's passed away, and now you can feel emotion, right? Until that point, when you were shown that she was deceased, your continued first reaction is to protect this guy. You just said, I only saw a picture of him, whatever your verbiage was, I say of his penis in her mouth, and your first reaction was, oh my, victimized? No. She's being abused? No. It's Stefan needs a lawyer. Who the cares if we think he killed her? He's.
I don't know why. I don't know why I said that.
But that's the problem. You don't know why. So the reaction in your mind is you are continuously protecting this guy. So why do I sit here and believe that you don't? Because right now, you know Stefan killed her. You know Stefan's been raping her. You know without her body, can he be charged with murder?
I don't know.
Exactly. So you don't know what we can do. Do I think we can charge him with murder? It's not up to me. Should he be charged with murder? Yes.
Please.
Does your role in her life lead this to happen? I'll be honest. Yes.
I know.
Since she was a child, since her victimization started, it occurred under your roof, and you acted like it didn't exist. And knowing the victimization, knowing how ongoing it is, knowing that you saw a picture of it, not just us telling you, not me and him saying, hey, listen, he's being, I think they had a bad relationship. They showed you a picture of it, and you still protected him.
The reaction of that detective is the reaction that the public has had in this case, in this investigation. And there's one question that always comes up anytime I'm talking about this story. Let's get to that, because that's my next question, which is, why hasn't Jenn Soto been charged? Everyone wants to know the answer to that. Still with me? host of Grizzly True Crime YouTube channel. Gisela K. Also joining me, former prosecutor Nima Sadagian. Nima, let me begin with you. Why hasn't Jenn Soto been charged? The public is outraged. The people who watch Grizzly True Crime are outraged. Anytime I talk about this story, people are like, why hasn't the mother been charged?
Well, there's a lot to unpack here. There's, evidence on a Google Drive of sexual assault, sexual battery on a child under 12 since 2020. So there's many years of evidence to unravel. Prosecutors are likely going through this video and trying to find whether, Jenn Soto aided and abetted these crimes before the fact or after the fact with the murder. So there's a lot to take apart.
Let me ask you this, Nima, because she said this herself. She said, I was too trusting. If you're oblivious, if you turn a blind eye, is there anything she can be charged with? Like, maybe something's going on, but I don't want to know.
Well, that's a question of fact for the jury to find out if and when it goes to trial, is whether she actually knew. And, there's going to be a lot of evidence to impeach, her statements to the police, possibly her version of events. And so we're going to find out more as prosecutors possibly bring charges.
Gisela, you've gone through so much of the evidence in this case, more than anyone else, outside of the people directly involved in the case. Have you seen or come across any evidence that would indicate that she had knowledge, actual knowledge, that this abuse had been going on?
Well, instructing them. She says they went upstairs, but she instructed them to go upstairs to the guest bedroom. Says it all. I mean, saying that, and in an audio interview saying, I always told Stefan that I was really worried this would turn into a Woody Allen situation. And then when she turns 18, they would get married, and they can't do that to me. She said to me. That says it all, in my opinion. That's huge.
That's huge. Nima, I know you may need more in a courtroom, but to me that's a starting point, because the Woody Allen thing, we know what happened in the Woody Allen situation, and she seemed to have some level.
I think the Woody Allen situation, when she turns 18, that can't happen to me, combined with Madeline's friends saying that Madeline told her that her mother said she was going to kick her out of the house when she turned 18. Like, it almost seems like that is connected to this Woody Allen greatest fear.
Of knowledge of that, how do you uncover, what do you need to prove that she had some level of knowledge that this was going on?
Well, there's a high standard of evidence for criminal charges beyond a reasonable doubt. And simply instructing someone, your significant other, who's like a father figure to your daughter, to go to bed early is not necessarily in and of itself definitive proof that she aided and abetted in these crimes. But we need more, and there's more to unpack. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to see more in the days, weeks, months to come.
Let's take a look. Jenn Soto doing a denial in this interview.
I don't care about him. I want him to go to jail. I want the worst thing possible to happen to him in jail. I know what happens to predators in jail. Like, I'm ready for that. Like, please, I don't give a about him. I'm not protecting him.
Gisela, we have about 15 seconds.
I personally think that little crying fit that she had done in the interview at that point was because she knew that they were mad, the detectives were mad at her. And she should have had that reaction that she was having there. Like, I don't give an F about him. I don't care what happens to him. I know what happens to people who do that to children in jail. Like, she should have had that reaction when she was shown the photo of them together. Instead, it's noted in the interview, the written interview we went through in the 900-page documents, that she didn't recognize anything in the photo, and Then she leaves that interview after seeing that and tells Stefan's father to get him a lawyer. I mean, she was crying there at that moment for herself.
I'm not protecting him.
Gisela, we have about 15 seconds. You believing her in that part where she's saying, listen, I don't care about this guy anymore?
Absolutely not. If you listen to all the interviews and look at all the videos, nope. Later she says, if I don't want to press charges now, can I change my mind later? And here's this, gets those silver bracelets. What if she has more children and this happens again?
Big thank you. Nima, say it again. Thank you. Gisela K, Grizzly True Crime. If you're not subscribed, you need to do it right after this show, folks. Thanks so much. All right. Most people look at this investigation and say, how could Jenn Soto not know what was happening to her daughter? Why would she ever put her daughter in a bed alone with a grown man who is not her father, and at some point, not really her full-time boyfriend? I mean, this whole situation absolutely stinks. But to charge Jenn Soto for something, they need to establish that she knew about the danger and the horrific abuse. And I guess that proof must not exist right now, but I got to think the investigation is ongoing. I'm Vinny Politan.
All right. So yeah, they have stated that at this moment that they didn't have anything to arrest Jenn Soto on. She had not committed anything criminally wrong. We all disagree with that, especially with the child neglect and all that charge that could be given. I think that they're digging through a lot of the material and hoping that they can find something that can connect her to some prior knowledge. I also am concerned about the hard drives that Stefan Stern's father says in his interview that just went missing that were at their house. I'm worried that what if those hard drives actually connected Jenn Soto to knowing and now they're gone. So this here, sorry, I don't have any exciting visuals for you guys. This is her Madeline Soto's best friend. The girl says I'm her best friend. And this is, we'll listen to this interview. And I'm going to try my best not to pause it because I haven't listened to this fully yet. So I just will pull your guys' comments up on screen. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Okay. So I know, like I said, I know you talked to Detective Bradshaw a little bit about everything that's going on. But if you can just kind of give me a summary, how well you call it? You know, known her since fourth grade. Okay. You think you guys were close? You guys best friends? How do you? Best friend. Okay. Would she say the same thing to you about you? Are you guys best friends? Okay. Okay. Do you think you guys confide everything in each other? You guys share your secrets? Like, there's levels of best friends, right?
We share everything.
Share everything. Okay. Okay. So, did she ever tell you about anything that was going on at home? Okay.
A lot. Like, they'd have arguments, but it was just like arguments. Like, I'll go clean your room, and she would be like, no, I don't want to.
Okay. Anything else?
She'd come to PE, and she'd be like, I had a fight, like, she would come and complain.
Okay. She ever complained about anything else? Nothing else. Okay. Have you noticed any big changes in her behavior lately?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk to me about those. Okay. Sorry. Polar.
Yeah. She kind of acts bipolar a little bit.
Okay.
She'll have mood swings.
You talk about.
She takes medicine.
Okay.
She follows the medicine. She has ADHD.
Okay.
The last time I saw her was Sunday. I was at her birthday party, and when I first got there, she was a little upset.
Okay.
And then she was also kind of upset that, like, she didn't get enough presents. She didn't get, like, most of her family wasn't there.
Yeah.
And she
Hang on, guys. I just had to refresh the page because it was spinning. Now I want to see if I can find it. Let me see if this is it.
Today's date is February.
I thought it was fishy yesterday when she didn't text me at all, because usually even I heard she'd be like, do it right now. So
I don't know if this is the same
she
friend.
turned 18 or 19, they kick her out of the house.
Oh, interesting. Let's just listen to this one and we'll get back to the other one at a future date. We didn't really get much into it besides her saying that she told her that her mom and her would fight a lot.
Would you FaceTime each other?
Her on call and stuff. Like,
The reason why I'm like skipping a few minutes in is because they just kind of go through this stuff, like their name and stuff, and it's redacted.
and it, like, involves her, like, if in 5th grade, she didn't come to 5th grade, and then in 6th grade, she also joined in the middle of the year. I remember her, and we became friends, and then she, ever since then, we've just been best friends and known her close with her. She tells me, like, a lot. Me and, like, her two, like, go-to best friends and stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So you've known 4th grade. What grade are you in now?
7th.
7th. Okay. So about 3-4 years or so. And when you say she tells you a lot of things, what do you mean?
Like, she'll tell me, like, stuff that's going on with her family. Anything really that, like, kind of, like, involves her. Like, if my were to get into a fight, she would go tell me about it on call and stuff. She had never told me about anything about her running away other than her saying if she were to run away, she'd go into the woods and find a place and stay there.
Okay. So you're close with her. What would she tell you about, like, her relationship with her?
We wouldn't get along that well, she said. Every day in PE, she'd come in and she'd be like, oh, fight or something. Like, we're not on, like, great terms or something. I had said that was going to disown her when she turned 18 or 19, like, kick her out of the house. About that, she would like get mad at her on call and stuff.
What do you mean get mad at her on call? What do you mean?
Like, she'd tell her, like, clean her room or something. I'm, like, doing something right now, I can't.
So do it right now.
Yeah.
And what was to that?
She'd get mad at her and she'd be like, do it right now, I told you to. Get off the call if you're just gonna act like that, you don't talk about it.
Okay. And when you say the call, are you mean like just like a regular phone call?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys would you FaceTime each other, or was this just like you talking to each other on the phone?
Most of the time it was FaceTime because we were, like, playing in Club Box or something.
Gotcha. Okay. How often do you?
Like, every single day. She texts me every morning I wake up, and I always get a text from her, unless she. But usually, I thought it was fishy yesterday when she didn't text me at all, because usually, even if she doesn't go to school that day, she texts me, like, the night or the day of, like, she'll wake up early just to, like, text me, like, hey, I'm not going to school. And she didn't yesterday, but I didn't think everything of it, because I thought she, like, oh, she, like, slept in or something.
Okay. Has she ever mentioned anything about her relationship?
Mentioned really briefly. She was always on a call. Stefan, she was always on a call with him. She loved him. They were really close.
Okay. So Stefan. Okay. And you said that she's very close to him. Okay, and that she's always on a phone call with him. So, like, what do you mean when you say that she's always on the phone with him? Like
they're always talking, like they're always texting or on a call with each other. Like, one time I called her and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna call you back later," or like, "Do you want to join?" I was like, "I can join. I don't care. Your choice. If you guys want to one time, you can." And then she added me to the call, and like, he was helping her with her homework and stuff.
Okay, so was she typically at home when she was talking to him, or
Yes.
would she talk to him while she was here at school?
No, she talked to him at home.
Does he not live in the home?
No, but he visits a lot. He recently moved out.
Why did he move out?
I have no clue.
She didn't tell you anything that happened. Do you know when he moved out of the house?
I don't know the exact date.
Okay, and she didn't tell you why. Did she ever tell you about?
Does anyone in chat remember the exact month even? I want to say it was December that he left. I can't remember 100%. You guys might know. Let me know. And I'm also, now the whole pregnancy discussion has been allegedly debunked by a family who says that law enforcement confirmed to them that she wasn't. Again, we haven't heard law enforcement state it, but it seems as though if we can believe what the family member is saying, then she was not. Okay, MK says it was December. See, and Tony, okay, thank you guys. See, and good night, Jackie and everyone who stated that they will watch replay. Thank you guys so much. I believe I'm getting concerned that, because she goes missing at the end of February. And then obviously she wasn't missing. She was stashed away. But I'm getting concerned with this whole pregnancy thing. What if it was prior to her going missing? So she wasn't pregnant when she was found. I'm just starting to think about, so he leaves the house at December. Her friend here doesn't even know why. There's like Johnny reminded me in chat, there's a pregnancy test under the sink that was open. And we know that Jenn isn't having sex because of her medications. I'm just wondering could it be possible that something had happened as far as a pregnancy previous? Because then remember, the girlfriend says we usually get our periods around the same time. And she didn't get hers at our usual time, but then she got it 2 weeks later. I'm wondering if the late period had anything to do with some procedure. I don't know. I'm just thinking. But Jenn said she missed her period in February. Jenn hadn't had sex since December 2022. Or is that December 22nd? I don't know. I'm just wondering if maybe, like Jenn says in her interview, maybe she wanted to come and tell me what was going on and he wanted to silence her. What if it's that, but it's also something that she had gone through already because of Stefan? I'm just throwing it out there because I'm just thinking about all those things that I listed off. Like, are they connected in any way? Yeah, pregnant at 13 has to be a reportable issue. Agree. I don't know. Maybe she miscarried.
I knew they were very close. That's pretty much all I really knew.
Close. Okay. So sometime recently he moved out and
Yes,
in contact with him on the phone.
can.
How often would you say that she talks to him?
Like 3 times or like 2 times a week on a call, and then like she'll go text him.
She'll text him? How often does she text him usually? Do you know?
I have no clue.
And when
That's
she's
also
calling him,
true.
is it usually in the afternoon, the morning, evening, something else?
Like
evening, something else?
That's also true. So by the end of February, when she's getting the autopsy, the blood would have shown the hormone in there if it had happened in February. Maybe it was way prior, and by then the hormone had dropped out of her blood tests. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing this out there live with you guys.
somewhere between like the afternoon and night.
Okay. Did she say what they would talk about?
No.
What was your vibe on their relationship? Like, what did you think about it?
I liked they were very close. Like he was always interested in like everything that was going on. Like she'd tell him like stuff that's going on at school. She I don't know, she like briefly talked to him on the phone with like me on the phone too, like that I knew of. I don't really know what they would like say and stuff. All I knew is that like she would tell him what went on at school.
Okay. Did she ever disclose to you that he said or did anything that was she felt that was inappropriate?
No.
No. Did you ever witness anything that you felt that was inappropriate?
No.
That he said or did or anything like that? Okay. Have you ever been at the house when he's been there?
One time.
Okay. Tell me about that interaction.
They picked me up from my house. I don't remember if it was like a weekend or a weekday. And I met him, and then he went upstairs. Like when I like came, he was like, "Hey," he said, "Nice to meet you." And then he went upstairs because he just like came down for like water and then went back upstairs.
Gotcha. Okay. How old is he?
I have no clue.
Who normally brings? Has he ever brought her to school that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Do you have a reason?
So Jenn says, Tony, in her interview that Stefan came downstairs that night to use the restroom. The detective asked her, why didn't he use the one upstairs? And she said, because my roommate asked us not to. And she said, well, him specifically not to use the upstairs bathroom. So I don't know if we can absolutely say that the bathroom with the pregnancy test didn't belong to the roommates. I'm not even sure which bathroom it was found in. So I don't know. I guess we'll keep that out there, as it obviously could be one of the roommates' tests as well.
Reason why he would have brought her to school? But you don't know of a time that he's ever brought her to school. Shift work.
She's a sub here, and then I don't know if she still is. And then she also works at Disney.
Oh, okay. So now that he is no longer in the home, who else lives in the house?
A couple roommates, and then her mom and her.
Their roommates. Who are those people?
I know that.
Have you ever met them before?
I met one of them, but I don't really know them.
Are they like a couple? Like,
no.
Are they like males, females?
There's like one kid that I think is like in 6th grade or 5th grade. I don't know. There's one little kid there, and then I think the rest are all girls. I think Stefan was the only boy.
Okay, so is it like another family that's living in there with them?
I think it's just people that's close to them that can't find a home or don't have enough money for a home. They keep.
Oh, they kind of all stay together.
Yeah.
I'm understanding. I got you. Okay, cool. So, when was the last time that you texted you, either one?
I was at her on Sunday, this previous Sunday.
So that would have been 2 days ago. So the 25th?
Yes.
Okay. And then so you physically went to the party?
Yes.
Okay. What time did you leave the house?
Like around 7
p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you talk?
No.
Did she text you at all after that?
We went to the park, and I know she had brought her phone when I was still at the party, so I texted her like, "Hey, did you bring her phone?" She never answered, and then when I got home, she saw the text and she was like, "What is this?" I was like, "Oh, we were at the park. I didn't know if you brought your phone." She was like, "Oh, LOL."
Okay. So then you said she normally will text you in the mornings when she gets up.
Yeah, she'll text me good morning, and then she'll send me like a whole bunch of Instagram reels or YouTube reels.
Gotcha.
Or YouTube reels.
What did she text you yesterday morning at all?
No.
Did she call you at all?
No.
Did she send you any Instagram reels? Anything else that you were talking about?
No, which is what I thought was fishy.
Okay. Did you ever try to call her or text her or anything?
Yes, I called her.
And no answer?
No answer.
And that's completely out of the ordinary for her.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you come to school.
Mhm.
And what happened?
I got to school, and me and our friend group were kind of just like hanging around, like kind of where the entrance is, waiting for her to get to school because she's a walker. So we kind of just like waited near the entrance for her to come in. We were already on campus. We were already like in the gates and stuff. We were kind of just like waiting for her to get there, and then when she didn't show up, we were like, okay. Sometimes she'll like wake up a little late and then she'll come during first period. And she didn't. So I was like, okay, she might be like sick or something. Everybody kept coming up to me and was like, where is she? Where is she? Is she okay? And stuff. I was like, I don't know. Like, she's probably just sick or something. And that's what I kind of told everybody, that she was like sick or that she'd kind of like slept late and want to go to school.
Right.
So.
Does she miss school often?
No.
Is she sick frequently?
Yes, but she still comes to school.
Okay. Is it just like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. She was coughing a lot. Like, she's been coughing a lot. And then when we were running around, she was coughing a lot and stuff. So I think she was sick then.
Okay. But she didn't mention to you anything about not coming to school yesterday?
No.
Okay. Has she ever mentioned anything to you about wanting to run away?
Other than the woods.
Okay. And tell me about that.
We were at Recharge. We were walking around the bus loop, and she was like, she was talking about a gator, and then she was like, it'd be like so cool to do. And I was like, what? She was like, if we like ran into the woods, like, you know that trail behind school. I was like, yeah. And she was like, it'd be so cool to like go there and just like build a little house. And I was like, the woods, like with like animals and stuff. And I was like, where are you gonna get this like wood and stuff to build this house? And she was like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And I thought she was joking and stuff because she kind of like smiled when she did it. So I thought she was joking, but I didn't take her seriously. And then when I found out she was missing, that popped into my mind, and I told my dad, and he was like, and I will go out looking for her. So my dad didn't come home till late last night trying to find her because he was in the woods. He went to every single park, went to the park we went to. Everywhere we could look.
Your dad went out to the woods last night?
Yeah. He didn't find her.
Okay. So has she ever mentioned to you about, like, I know you were saying she was just joking, oh, it'd be cool to run into the woods and build a house, but did she ever say, like, I really want to run away or anything like that?
No.
Nothing to that context?
No.
Did she ever talk about how she didn't want to be at home anymore? She didn't want to live at home anymore?
She would kind of talk about getting a house or like getting an apartment when she's older though.
Okay. And I know you'd mentioned something about she was going to kick her out or disown her. Why would she say that?
Because they were fighting a lot, I guess. I don't know.
You know what they were fighting about? Okay.
Probably something like stupid, like, hey, go clean your room. She just like didn't want to do it.
Gotcha. So, your knowledge, ever tried or threatened to harm herself in any way?
No.
Okay. Does she ever talk about people harming themselves or anything like that?
No.
Access to any weapons at home?
No, I don't think she does.
Okay. Has she shown like a fascination with like suicide or harming herself or anyone harming themselves?
No.
Okay. What do you think happened?
I think that she does have a lot of social media. I think that she was waiting to turn 13 because she had told like when I turn 13, once I turn 13, I'm gonna leave this house and never come back.
Why 13?
Because I think because she would always brag because I said that I can't wait to my birthday, and she was like, "Are you having a birthday party?" I said no, and she was like, "Oh, I get a whole bunch of money, like $500 something dollars on my birthday. You know, like that's like so much money." And I was like, "Yeah, like I get money, but like not like that." And I don't really like having birthday parties because the last birthday party I had was a whole bunch of drama. So then she was like, "Oh, okay." But she would always talk about getting money for her birthday, and then when I showed up to her and I didn't give her money, and I already had given her a gift, I brought it to school. She kind of got mad that I didn't give her any money or anything. I was like, I spent money on this. I didn't physically give you any money though. And then when we also got there, I was like, how many presents did you get? And then she was like, I barely got any money yet. Like, I'm kind of mad because like I want more money. And then I was like, oh, why? And she was like, well, it's probably another. It's like, I don't know. I think she was waiting to turn 13, waiting for me. That way she could get a whole bunch of money and go.
But where would she go?
I have no clue. She talks to her sister. Her dad is in Washington, D.C., and I think her sister is too. Her and her sister are close. I went over to their house. Like, I went over to the mom. No,
her biological sister?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Her, I went over to her grandparents' house, and she was on a call with her sister. They seemed close. They always play Minecraft together and stuff.
How old's her sister?
I think like the last time I think she mentioned her, I thought like 15 or 16.
She's just a couple years older.
Yeah.
So she said she was upset because she didn't get a lot of money. She wanted more money. Okay. But she didn't mention what she was going to do with that money other than just, hey, possibly buy more presents.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she talk to a lot of random people on social media?
On Roblox, yes. She would go in like role play games and she'd role play with them and talk to them online.
Okay.
I had a Roblox account. I showed Miss McConnell. She had not texted anybody. She has 51 friends on it, but it didn't say anyone has texted her in like a while. And most of them were like just people that she had friended or people that had friended her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it could have been like a game or something. They joined the game and that they talked on the game about like where to meet up.
Has she ever met random strangers like that? Like outside of the house that you know of?
Not that I know of.
Okay, she's never told you about any of that. Has she ever told you about any inappropriate conversations that she's had with older men or older women on any of these social media accounts?
No.
Has she ever told you about maybe sending any inappropriate pictures or somebody sending inappropriate pictures or items to her on any of these accounts at all? Nothing? Okay. So I know you said she has Roblox. Do you know what are her account like names on those, like her handles on those? Do you know what they are? Top of your like her username or whatever you guys call those? And that's Roblox. Okay, so that's her Roblox username.
Yes.
Okay, and you said she has Instagram. I heard you say that.
I have no clue what her Instagram is.
You don't follow her on Instagram?
I don't have Instagram. I'm not allowed to have social media for this exact reason.
So she does have an Instagram.
Yeah.
You just don't know what it is.
I don't know.
What else does she have?
YouTube Shorts.
Okay. What does she do on there?
She dances and stuff, and then she like covers her face. She doesn't do a very good job of it because she goes like up and down like there's this dance that you do. But in some of them, like I'll go on her YouTube Shorts account and she'll forget to like put the emojis on her face, and I had texted her like a few times like, hey, I just went on your thing because I get notifications that she does it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, you forgot to cover your face in this one. Then she was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." She was planning on doing it at 200 subs, showing her face.
Why?
Because I think she got tired of like, because everybody could I think some people kept commenting like, "Oh, show your face" or something. I don't know.
Okay. So Roblox, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Anything else? Okay. When you guys would text each other, did you guys use an app to text each other, or was it just your regular phone?
Messages.
Like iMessages?
Yeah.
So like just the normal text messages through the iPhone.
Yes.
You guys didn't use like WhatsApp or any of these other accounts. Do you know she had a WhatsApp or any other accounts that she could have had? Okay. Does she have a boyfriend?
She's a crush.
On who?
Someone in school.
What's his name?
I don't know what his last name is.
Do you have any classes with him?
Second period PE.
And he's in your second period PE?
Yes.
Is he here today?
Yes.
Does he like her back?
I don't think so.
Do they like hang out and talk and stuff?
They have each other's phone number, but he never answers her. She always texts him, but he never answers.
Okay, so they don't hang out at school or anything like that. Gotcha. Okay. So she didn't tell you about wanting to skip school or anything yesterday? Has she ever skipped school? Has she ever told you that, hey, we should skip school together, or we should go do this, or we should go do that? No? Do you know if she takes any illegal drugs or uses alcohol or anything like that?
She has medicine.
For what?
She has ADHD.
Okay.
She party on Sunday. She just kind of had an episode. Like she was on me for everything that I did, and she never acted like that. Like if I would like do something, she'd get upset about it, or she'd get mad, or something like that. She has mood swings a lot. Like she'll just like move from different moods really easily. I always thought she had bipolar. She never said what type of meds she took. I know she has ADHD meds, and I think they're bipolar meds too. The last time she took them was Valentine's Day. I picked her up to go to school, and she was running late. So I was like, hurry up. And then she was like, okay. So she gets in the car, and she's like, hey, sorry, I had to take my meds. And I was like, you're good. And then after that, the last 2 weeks, she said she had not taken her meds. And she would go around and tell everybody that she didn't take her meds.
Why did she not want to take her meds?
She said she forgot to, but I don't know.
Okay.
She did say that she kind of liked not being on her meds because she had more energy.
Okay. Does she engage in any kind of like risky kind of behaviors that you would think would be a little bit inappropriate for her age?
No.
Does she hang out with anybody that you would think would be a little bit inappropriate, or somebody that she probably shouldn't be hanging out with? Okay. And she's never mentioned anything to you about hanging out with older men or women outside of school, running away, going anywhere with anyone?
The only thing she talked about was her dad and her sister.
What about?
That they would talk a lot and that they were close.
Okay. But nothing other than that?
Nothing other than that.
Okay. And then her dad and her sister, how often does she talk to them?
Her dad, she really talks to. Her sister, she talks like 24/7 too.
All right. Is there anything else you can think of that I have not asked you that you want to tell me that you can remember?
Sometimes the YouTube shorts or like the Instagram reels would be about love, but like crushes or like finding like a boyfriend. And I thought that she just meant like the crush in her, or something. I don't know.
Do you think she ever had any like feelings?
That I know of.
Okay. It didn't seem like that to you at all? Okay. What about with anybody else? Okay. All right. All right. Anything else you can think of that I have not asked you? I know we talked about a lot of things with all of this.
I'm trying to think. When I gave her my present, she kind of got mad and stuff, and she was like, she would take stuff really literally, like all the time. Like, she would kind of just take stuff out of hand or something, and then she kind of just takes stuff out of context and make it more dramatic than it is.
Okay. Do you think that she acts out for attention sometimes?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So I know I go back to the whole, like, what do you think happened? Do you think that she just ran away? Like, what are your thoughts on this? Because you know her better than any of us do.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why we have to come and talk to you. Like, I don't know her. I've never met her. I know nothing about her. So based on what you know.
Based on what I know, I think she kind of just wanted to be free and kind of just not live under, like, her.
Was she, like, defiant? Like, didn't like to follow the rules?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it depends if she took her meds. If she doesn't take her meds, then she's, like, really crazy and she doesn't think. She just does stuff.
Like, impulsive?
Yeah.
Okay, when you say she does stuff, what does that mean? Like, what kind of stuff?
Like, no matter what it is, it could be, like, crazy or it could be, like, completely normal. Like, it'll just be, like, whatever, and she'll just do it.
Did anything happen at her party that you think would have set her off? It was at the house, though? The birthday party?
Yeah, but I don't know where they're. It was at the grandparents' house.
Oh, the birthday party was at the grandparents' house.
Yeah, I wasn't at. No.
And she didn't tell you why?
No.
What about?
Nope.
He didn't come either? Mm-hmm. So who all was there?
The rest of their family. Their grandma, their grandpa, everyone else.
Okay. Has she been staying at Grandma and Grandpa's house?
Yes.
So she's not staying with.
Like, she goes back and forth. Depends. If her at Disney, she has to be there early, so she like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you mean. Okay. Where does the grandparents live? Do you know? Is that in Kissimmee? Or is that right around the corner? Oh, that's right around the corner here. Okay. I gotcha. Okay. Now I'm understanding. Okay.
My dad was like outside in like the woods and stuff, and then a cop was talking to him about, and my dad asked like where like, and like, oh, does like the cop was like, oh, had picked 2 o'clock. Didn't say where. Didn't say like.
Wait, what?
Anything.
Who said that?
The cop said this to my dad.
He told your dad that. Oh, he asked him. Did he?
Oh, like he like said like my dad asked him where did like just like wondering that way like because she could be around there, that way you can go search, and then the cop was like, oh, and then drove her home. But then I asked there, or like when was like the last time you saw her? She was like this morning.
Did he say where he picked him up or picked her up?
No.
So the deputy told your dad that picked her up at 2 o'clock and took her home?
Picked her up at 2 o'clock and took her home.
But he didn't say where?
He didn't say where. Because my dad called my mom and then said exactly what the cop said. And then my mom had told me, and my dad came home and told me.
Okay.
But I was confused because that's not. It was like, hey, are you So she was like, okay, I'm just wondering because where she is, did she come to school? Like, she didn't come to school at all. And I was like, she wasn't in lunch, she wasn't anywhere to be found. Everyone like, oh, she was like sick or she went to school. Nothing like that. Nobody really thought of anything of it. And then she was like, okay, I'm freaking out. Can you call all your friends and like make sure that she was at school or that someone or like make sure someone's seen her. And then I checked with everybody. No one saw her. So I was like, no one saw her.
But she didn't say if she dropped her off at school.
No. She said she dropped her off at church and then left.
You that? I'm just writing this down because I will forget because we've talked about a lot of things. Okay.
I think this part is explained in the written interview that we read through probably a couple months ago by now. I think the girlfriend here is saying that she thought it was weird that Stefan was saying that he dropped her off that morning because when Jenn Soto called her to ask if she had heard from Madeline, Jenn told her, meaning the friend, that Jenn had dropped her off at the church, which is kind of interesting because that's obviously not the script that they stuck to. And also, Jenn Soto would continuously say, we brought her to school, we dropped her off. And then suddenly the story kind of morphed into 100%. It was just Stefan. So I'm just going to rewind it a little bit because I know that they've redacted a lot. But from what I'm kind of gathering is I think that that's the discussion that's being had right now that we kind of read through in the written interview.
Go search, and then the cop was like, oh, fuck, and then drove her home. But then I asked there, or when was like the last time you saw her? She was like this morning.
Did he say where he picked him up or picked her up?
No.
So the deputy told your dad that picked her up at 2:00 and took her home?
Picked her up at 2:00 and took her home.
But he didn't say where.
Because my dad called my mom and then said exactly what the cop said. And then my mom had told me, and my dad came home and told me.
Okay.
But I was confused because that's not. It was like, hey, are you?
Yep, that's what she's saying. She said, because I was confused because that's not what Jenn told me. She called me and said, hey, have you, and then she's about to say, have you heard from Madeline? Blah, blah, blah. I dropped her off at, so the friend is confused, which we read through so long ago. Unfortunately, I don't remember what live stream it was in, but the interview said that this friend stated she didn't understand why it was being said that Stefan dropped her off at the church because Jenn Soto told her she dropped her off at the church.
So she was like, okay, I'm just wondering because where she is, did she come to school? Like, she didn't come to school at all. And I was like, she wasn't in lunch, she wasn't anywhere to be found. Everyone like, oh, she was like sick or she went to school. Nothing like that. Nobody really thought of anything of it. And then she was like, okay, I'm freaking out. Can you call all your friends and like make sure that she was at school or that someone or like make sure someone's seen her. And then I checked with everybody. No one saw her. So I was like, no one saw her.
But she didn't say if she dropped her off at school.
No. She said she dropped her off at church and then left.
You that? I'm just writing this down because I will forget because we've talked about a lot of things. Okay. Told you that she was the one that dropped
her off.
Her off. Okay. Did she say what time?
Like 4:45 last time the last time she was seen.
4:45 in the morning?
Yes.
Why would she drop her off at 4:45 in the morning at a church?
The church is like next year, so then
Yeah, but 4:45 is like 4 hours before school starts.
I mean, sorry, 8:45.
Thank you. I'm like, hold on. Hold on.
Sorry.
Okay, so she... Okay, told her she at 8:45 at the church.
That's a good question, MK. They changed their story for some reason. Was it due to the camera? What time, if anyone can, even in comment section on replay, what time did they say that that girl was seen on camera? Because maybe it didn't align with 8:45 either. I'm wondering. I don't know.
I think Honda. I don't know. It looks like a Honda.
Is it like a passenger car, an SUV, a van?
There's a back seat. I don't.
Like small car, big car?
Small car.
Okay, what color is it?
I can't remember.
And you guys said this over the phone. It wasn't in a text message.
Yes.
What time was that you?
It was sometime after school because I'd gone off the bus and then we heard the ice cream trucks. We were like waiting around the neighborhood for it.
So Jenn Soto called Madeline Soto's friend and says over the phone that she dropped her off at church that morning. But Jenn Soto emails the teachers to ask them if her kid had been there all day.
You. And asked if.
Yep.
Okay. And then the woods that you say your dad searched, where are those at?
Here.
The ones that are right back out here? Okay. How long was he out there?
I don't know what time he came home or anything. 9 something he came home.
Uh-huh.
I think somewhere around like 8. I told him at like 7, like late 7, and then somewhere around there he kind of just left. I was like, I'm gonna go find her, or like I'm gonna go look for her, and then he told me to send him a picture. Send him like the address of the grandparents' house, and I'm gonna call you to keep your phone on you.
And this is your dad, correct?
Yes. And so I kept my phone on me, and he kept like calling and telling me like, ask her or anything, ask her if there's any updates and what she was wearing. She was wearing like a Kelly green RBS hoodie that I gave her.
RBS, what is that?
RBS is a company that my dad and my mom work at.
Gotcha, okay.
White Crocs and spandex, like black spandex.
You said white Crocs?
Mm-hmm.
And black spandex pants?
Oh, shorts.
I'm assuming you haven't heard from her today then, right?
No.
Not at all. So you haven't heard from her since Sunday night after her party?
Yes, which was the last time I saw her was when she had gotten mad at me because I didn't say goodbye to her family. I didn't like go shake everyone's hand and like tell her like goodbye to everyone.
Okay.
So the last conversation was an argument.
So you don't know if anybody else had contact with her yesterday after mom dropped her off at 8:45 at the church?
No.
What?
Because instead of going exactly a car line.
Is that normal?
No. I don't think so. You like straight dropped off in the front of the school.
Okay.
Car line.
I know where that off. Okay. But yesterday, for some random reason, she wanted to be dropped off at the church.
I don't know if she's ever been dropped off at church before or not. She's told me.
Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Anything else you can think of? I know we've talked a lot about a lot of different things here.
Yeah.
Okay. If you think of anything else or anything that you think that is important, make sure that you have your parents call the sheriff's office. Okay. And we'll go from there. I mean, we're going to do everything we can to see, to find, we just need to, that's why we're talking to everybody, because we have to exhaust all of our leads and try to put this whole thing back together to figure out where she was last seen and kind of retrace her steps and all that. Okay. Do you have any questions for me that I can answer for you, or try to at least?
Do you have any possibility of where she might be? Like any thing?
So there's a lot of things we're looking at right now. I am not the lead detective on this case. I'm helping out with somebody else. So I don't know what all he has gathered from talking to her family. There's a lot of things that we have to still look at, right? Like there's a lot of social media. There's just a lot of stuff we have to look at. So our goal is to as quickly as possible, right? In safe condition. So I don't have those answers specifically, and I'm not going to make something up and tell you if I did. Okay. But that's our goal for now. So there's just so much we have to dig through, there's so many people we got to talk to and all that. So, but any other questions that I could try to answer for you?
Did you text?
Okay. He got it's pretty similar. Your name was brought up as like the best friend. So that's why I'm directly asking you specific things. Do you think any other information that could be helpful that's different than what you gave me?
Probably, maybe. I mean, she didn't tell me about leaving the house and never coming back when she turns 13.
Okay.
Not that I know of anything else that.
Okay. Got it. All right. Do you swear everything you told me is true to the best of your knowledge? Awesome. All right.
All right, guys. So we listened to Vinnie Politan on Court TV's podcast. Chris McDonough, retired law enforcement, was on the panel, as well as Grizzly True Crime with her thoughts and opinions. Vinnie, of course, has always good thoughts and opinions also. And I unfortunately don't remember the doctor's name, but there was a doctor on panel as well who had some interesting insight also. So they listened to Jenn Soto's interview, gave their thoughts, and then just now we listened to around 30-ish minutes of Madeline Soto's friend, her best friend, and her interview. And we started a different one, then I lost it because of loading, but that one I'm glad we actually got to hear, because that's the one who kind of says that she was confused because Jenn Soto told her that Jenn was the one that dropped her off that morning. And the detective made a point to say, repeat it, and she said, so mom dropped her off. So by saying mom, it totally excludes a whole we theory, as like Jenn was saying to the law enforcement officers, etc., and the media. No, it wasn't the blonde lady doctor. I forget her name too. No, it wasn't her. I cannot remember. Can't remember her name. Yeah, that young lady did a great job considering how young she is. Right. She's only just turned 13 years old. All right, guys. So we are just going through some interviews in the Freedom of Information Act and discussing this case until trial. Now, we heard from Stefan's parents that they told them that this trial won't be for a couple of years. I think we kind of all assumed that. And yeah, there's still something weird about getting dropped off. Right. I agree. Yes, Marco. We're going on an hour and 44 minutes. We usually do an hour and a half. I'm telling you guys, my back, even when I'm not sitting in this computer chair, like by the end of the day, like it's breaking. I'm ready for the 22nd of October. But yes, I will see you guys tomorrow night around the same time. Not sure which case we'll be discussing. Maybe we should talk about Sarah Boone turning down the plea deal. Maybe we should go through some more interviews in the Madeline Soto case. Not really sure, just kind of winging it. But yes, I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow night around 8. Right now, if you want, go over to Jenn Lou's channel. She's talking Sarah Boone. I just linked her live stream in chat, and say ATS News sent us, and we can all go over there and hang out if you want more true crime for this evening. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. So good night. And thank you to my mods and everybody.